What up, everybody? It is your boy Jabbar back again with another video. I first want to say thank you for the 50 subscribers, for the comments, for the likes. Yeah, like that's great. I don't expect to be like a huge YouTuber or anything like this.
What?
I am kind of just doing this for fun as a hobby on the side, but I do want to grow a little bit, like just grow like a small following and like have discussions and create conversations about just art that's going on. So that's great that I have 52 subscribers and the views are still coming and people are still watching. So I thank you everybody who leaves a comment. I try to get back to comments as quickly as I can. All the comments have been really supportive, really great, really like positive. So keep them coming. Also, if you disagree, don't think you have to always put something nice. If you honestly disagree with something that I say, please let me know. Just approach it in the kindest way possible, the kindest way possible, the most respectful way possible. But just let me know. We can have a discussion about it in the comment section. But today's video will be about Denzel Curry's new album Zoo that came out a couple of weeks ago. I was surprised. I had never heard of Denzel Curry before. I was actually introduced to him by a friend, and he was actually surprised that I had never heard him before because he is a Southern artist. Well, he is a Southern artist in the fact that he is from the South, but he is not necessarily. He's kind of like a Southern artist in the way that J. Cole is a Southern artist. Like he's from the South, but like he is very influenced by a lot of people that are not from the South at all. So he doesn't really have like a signature Southern sound necessarily. But this album, I think, unlike J. Cole, in the way that J. Cole had Forest Hill Drive, that he has Zoo, which is sort of like talking about where he's from. And he is from Miami, Florida, Carol City specifically, Carol City, Miami. He even states it a bunch of times throughout a lot of the songs. He's from the 305, Miami-Dade. And yeah, this album, Zoo, is actually a nickname for Carol City in Miami. Or I think he actually said Miami. I think I've seen other people say it's for Carol City specifically. Yeah, he actually tweeted out that it's a nickname for Miami Zoo. And so this is sort of his homage to, well, not his homage, well, it's kind of his homage to where he grew up. And that is the consistent theme throughout, talking about where he comes from and what this place means to him and what it is. And I really see this album in almost like 3 parts, and there's like a 4th like mini part that's sort of like an envoy at the end, but we'll talk about that later. But I really see this album in like 3 parts. Zoo is kind of like a definition song, like this is what Zoo means, and this is what Zoo is, and Zoo is Miami, and this is what we're going to talk about. It's kind of like a starter song of like, just explaining this is Zoo and Zoo is Miami, and we're gonna be talking about where I grew up. And the first part after Zoo is like Ricky, Wish, and Birds, with Rick Ross, and also Wish has Kiddo Marv. Oh, he also has everybody. Everybody on this album except for the producer Tay Keith is from Miami. So you have Kiddo Marv, you have Rick Ross on this album, you have Ice, Billionaire Berg, you have Play That Boy Zay, you have Sam Sneak. All these people are from Miami, Florida. The only really big name that you would probably know is Rick Ross. But so he's also not only highlighting where he's from, but also other rappers, which I think is really nice. That he's highlighting other rappers from Miami and trying to like, give them their shine, which I think is great. But the first part of this album to me after Zoo is Ricky, Wish, and Birds by Rick Ross. And those songs to me are like him and really in the thick of it, like what he was experiencing at the time or feeling at the time being in Miami and living there. Um, and it's just the and then Wish honestly is a great song to me. It's a really like it has this like bassy like undertone, but it has this like R&B type of feel. Which all the songs are so like I don't know. They're just so complex. The instrumentation of the songs and how they're constructed is just so complex to me. And they're different sounds, which is also what I was talking about when I said that he seems to be made up of a lot of different other material besides just Southern music. And so I don't know if he even considers himself a Southern artist, but I don't even know if he could. Yeah, I don't know if he considers himself a Southern artist because he doesn't have a signature Southern sound. But like he's clearly influenced by the South a little bit. But because he has at the end of this album, like you see a lot more. But like songs like Wish and like Ricky and all these songs that like they don't really feel like signature Southern sounds, but they're really nice. They have really great like bass undertone, which I talked about before in Meg the Stallion's review. That like a lot of Southern beats other Southern artists are really big on like real big bassy beats. But but it's sort of undercut sometimes in his music because like it's like he like floats these like I don't know lighter sounds over them. But I feel like the first part of this album, like I said before, is Wish. Ricky, Wish, and Birds, in which he's sort of like talking about when he was in the thick of Miami and when he was in the thick of it growing up there, and then we sort of move from this first part of like what he experienced being there to this more retrospective of after he's moved out, and that sort of starts with like Automatic. And Speedboat is kind of like him having to get out of there. Automatic is kind of like this place wasn't good for me. Like the beats gets a little bit slower, and not they lose kind of like they lose like that feel that they had in the first part. And then Bushy B, and it gets even slower in Bushy B. And then the third part of this album to me is Carol Mart and Shake 88, and which are sort of homages to the signature Southerns. Those are two, like the Carol Mart and Shake 88 are two signature like. Like you just hear it and you're just like, this is a Southern beat, and these are Southern beats. These are Southern beats. This is and it's sort of like his homage to like, okay, I've sort of talked about the crime and the violence and the unstableness of this place, but like there's a lot of great things that come out of this place. And then Carol Moore and Shake 88, I forget which one, they kind of blended together for me. I forget which one he does. He shouts out Trina and Trick Daddy, who are like big like rappers, the kind of like the first big rappers from Miami, before like Rick Ross and them. But yeah, like he shouts them out as like they're really big and they're a big influence in the Miami area. And yeah, he just those two songs are just like let's time to celebrate this place. Like I've talked about it. I talked about what I didn't like about it. I've talked about the struggles I went through and being in it, and it's like a lot of like throughout that whole first two parts, he's sort of talking about the contradictory lessons that he grows up learning there, like just the bad habits and the crime and the violence but then he's just like, it's like Carol Mart and Shake 88. When you get to Carol Mart and Shake 88, they're really like, okay, it's time to like this place isn't all bad and there's some good parts to it. He's like, I got a pocket full of money, teeth full of glitter. There's something about being a trill ass nigga. Like it's like even though this place isn't probably the best, most positive place, there is something about this place that I call home, and that I call home, and that's kind of what I get from this whole journey of going through these three parts and it's really nice. Like I feel like putting it in three parts, because I was wanting to, because of the different sounds, I was wanting to like chop this album up like I did Meg's, but I was having trouble chopping it up, and I was like, why am I having trouble chopping it up? And so I would go back and listen. I would listen to the words very very carefully, and I was like, this album is in three parts, and it's like sort of like a story, like a stream of consciousness, or not a story, but a stream of consciousness, and the fact that it goes from one emotion to the next emotion to the next emotion. And then I said there's like an envoy at the end of this album. And the reason why I said, well, an envoy, word of the day, envoy. An envoy is actually like a poetic term, and it's like this little wrap up at the end of a poem that sort of summarizes the speaker's thoughts and ideas into this like nice, neat little just few lines, like a very very few lines, maybe like 2 or 3 lines. And I feel like what's the record called? Is it Blackland? No, it's not Blackland 66, is it? No, it's something after that. But I forget. Anyway, whatever it's called, I'm gonna put it in. But the last song is like very dark. The sound, the instrumentation of it is very like it just sounds very violent, and it sort of is like, even though we just came from this place of like I'm gonna celebrate Carol City for a moment. It's Carol City, Miami for a moment. I still have to like, he still has to go back and sort of highlight that this is like a dangerous place, a dangerous city, and like he puts play that boy Zay is on this record as well. So it's like this little nice wrap up, and it sort of comes out. It has, I think Blackland 66 is the interlude that comes before it, and then becomes before that last song, and then the last song is just this really it's not, the lyrics aren't very violent. It's more the instrumentation of the song is more so doing the work of like conveying that sense of violence, that sense of instability, of chaos, and stuff like that. So yeah, I personally did not like that ending. That was the thing that really kind of I did not like that ending. I wish it would have ended on, I guess I wish it would have ended on a celebration note, on a much more southern sound. I would have liked that, but he didn't end it there, or ended it with Black 66 as the last, like, little bit or whatever. Or like Black 66 should have been moved up, so therefore we get another break before we get into, because Caramart is first, and then we get into Shake That 88. Anyway, yeah, for the most part, I like this album, but yeah, like I said, I didn't personally prefer the ending, because I felt like we already got like so much of the violence, the crime, and the chaos of what's going on in this place, that I didn't need like an envoy summary that this was again a violent place, because I feel like I had gotten so much of that through the first 2 parts of this album. Even though this album is in parts, I'm gonna just say it's in parts because it is to me. So I didn't feel like we needed that, and I feel like I don't know, I didn't think it was needed. But I respect the fact that, I feel like that wasn't very intentional. I feel like that was his art. It was a very intentional artistic choice that he made to still highlight at the end that this is a violent place. And I don't know if even though I just got done celebrating some of his aspects, I don't know if I want to like glorify that and stuff like that, or, I understand. I get it. Like he doesn't seem to really have a whole lot of. He doesn't seem to have a whole lot of like. I feel like he feels like he has a responsibility to tell the truth about like, this place is a little grimy, and like, I'm always gonna be from there. That's always gonna be my home. But like, it's a little grimy, and I have to highlight. I feel like I have a responsibility to like talk about that, and I completely understand that. But for me personally, I would have liked to end it on. That's just me personally. I would like to have ended it on like this the homage to like the southern sound and more of the southern sound, but he didn't, and that's fine. My favorite songs are Wish, Birds. I really like Carol Martin, Shake 88. Um, yeah, a bird sounds like almost like a warning. Like it sounds like the beat just sounds like I don't know if anybody's ever heard like a hurricane warning or a tornado warning, like when they blow the horn in the movies and it's like
There ain't funny, Tammy.
the song is kind of like very dark in the sense that it's like warning people that this is how this place is, and this is what can happen to you in this place. But yeah, some of the lyrics are they're like it's a very up tempo. It doesn't feel sad. It feels like a very like it keeps hit the beats keep hitting you, the lyrics, but the lyrics are kind of have an undertone of sadness, and which I think is really interesting as well. Like he's like, I mean, or like you just be like, damn. He was like, your mama ain't shit, your daddy ain't shit.
Jesus Christ.
And then he was saying like, my mama said trust. My daddy said trust no man but your brothers. And daddy said treat all girls like your mama, like your mothers. And then his mother tells him pretty much that, you know, these hoes ain't nothing. So it's like these very contradicting like statements from his community, from his family. It's like having to like take all that in, take all of these contradicting statements in, contradicting life lessons in, that aren't necessarily good for you, are good for him. But like I like this album. I think I really did like this album. I really did. I really give this album like a, what do I give it? I give it a 4.5. And the reason I give it a 4. I give it a 4. And I knock it down because I just personal preference that I didn't like. But that's not really, I'm never mind. I'm not giving it because of that. I'm giving it because of the interludes. The interludes really, I don't know what they did for the interludes were more just there to break up. It's kind of like even when you see when you go back and you if you go and listen to this album and what I was talking about, the 3 parts, like the interludes kind of like even like break those 3 parts up. So I don't know. It was just kind of like they were just put there to break those 3 parts, but they didn't have any real significance to them. In terms of what he was trying to say, or they didn't really have they weren't really great transitions. I don't know. And then there's this character named Ricky that I don't really understand. Like there's this persona or character named Ricky that I really don't understand. That might have been because I was reading a few things about him, and Ricky might be a continuation of a storyline that I just throughout his other projects that I just, because I don't know him, I don't know who Ricky is when I get to this project, and that is very, you know, that's possible. Maybe I just need to go do my homework. But yeah, I don't know who Ricky is, and Ricky wasn't really explained to me very well. Those are just the 2 things that like knock it down to a 4. But I won't put too much of Ricky on him because maybe that's me and me need to go do my homework. But yeah, like the interludes, they really like, they kind of slowed the album down for me. They halted the album for me. Like they didn't push me forward. It was kind of like, okay, here's an interlude, but I really would like to get to the next song. Especially after I listened to it a couple of times, because I listened to albums, like I've been listening to this album since the day it came out, but yeah, every time I listen to it, I'm like, I would really like to get past these interludes. And I can end up skipping the interludes anyway to get to the song because the interludes just don't have any significance to me. Now, they might have some significance to him and why he put them there, and that I might just not be understanding. But I don't get the significance of the interludes, and I don't know. There's also, I think there's too many. There's some put into songs. There's some that are like at the end of songs, beginning of songs, and it's just like I don't know about this. it's like too halting, too halting. I need more effective interludes. I would say, because they kind of did. I mean, it was just kind of like these little skits where people kind of did nothing. Like it was kind of these skits where like one of the skits was like calling up this dude to tell him to come to a party, and all the dude says is yeah, 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 yeah. He just says yeah to everything or whatever. And it's like, it's funny, I guess. That one was okay. I guess you could keep it there. But like the other ones, I don't know. I didn't get them. Like one was just them smoking and coughing in the car or something like that. And then the other one was like, you know, you don't know me, boy. I'm Mr. Rick. Don't call me Ricky or something like that. I have, again, who is Mr. Rick? I don't know. Is Mr. Rick a drug dealer? Is Mr. Rick, I don't know who Mr. Rick is, or who Mr. Rick is to Denzel Curry, but he seems important. I just don't know his story. And I think that that would add another layer to this already, I think, very like emotional sort of reflection of what Zoo and Miami means to Denzel Curry. But yeah, I give this album a 4. I think the songs were really well placed. I think the songs were really well done. I think the songs do a really great job of conveying his feelings about Miami. I think that without being like, you know, so on the nose, so on the nose of like, I'm glad that he didn't try to, I'm glad he stayed true to himself. If he's not really like, he might be a Southern artist, but he's not like, he's not he doesn't do Southern music, if that makes any sense. Like he doesn't do the Southern sound. But I like that he stayed true to like, he incorporates pieces of those Southern sounds into himself and he makes it his own. Like I really like that. I would like J. Cole to try a more Southern sound. But that is another conversation for another time. But yeah, I really like this album. I give it a 4. And you know, this is gonna be a quick little video about Denzel Curry's Zoo. I really recommend that everybody go like listen to it. I think it's a great album. And I was really pleasantly surprised when I heard it and found a new person that I can listen to, a new Southern person that I can listen to. Like yes, like thank you. But I will see you guys next time on the next video.